start. Okay? Okay, וזה בחינס 4 פרשיות. ליקוטי הלוחס, נפילס אפיים הלוחה ד' או נוסיף חס, וזה בחינס 4 פרשיות, פרשס קולם, פרשס זכור, פרשס פור, פרשס חוידש. זה שקוראים בעוד הסמוך לפורים מלפניו ולאחריו. And all this is הכונה לגאולס וישוס ישראל שנזכה בניסן, שבו ניגול ובעשידון ניגול. Everything is a preparation for the Yeshua of Chodesh Nisan, that Am Yisrael will niggle in it, and Yitz Hashem, there will be niggle in it. There will be delivered in it. As Chazal said in Maseches Rosh Hashanah. Why? Because the main deliverance of Am Yisrael from the goals of the Simcha, Moshe Kosu ki v'simcha tzitzeu, you will exit the goals with Simcha. It says in that Torah. In other words, through the doing of the mitzvahs b'simcha, this elevates the Shekhinah from the galus until you achieve an asog of or ensof. You remember nothing, first is Pasha Shkola. What is the Shkolim for? Mitzvah Shkolim B'Shel HaKorbanos V'Akteris. The main purpose is they used to buy the Korbanos and the Kteris in Beis HaMikdash. They had these safes in the Beis HaMikdash, the kupos, and they used to put the. This is the main aliyah of the Nitzotzos HaKadoshim from the Klippos. That's why in the Korbanos and the Kteris it says the Kteris is Simcha. And it says in the Korbanos it says V'samachtem b'chol mishlach yedchem, and you rejoice with all those that you acquire and you send, and you're glad that you're eating shlomim, you rejoice with all the good you and your home. Because you said there's many psukim. So in Ketores, it says Ketores is samach lev. The Ketores rejoices the heart. This is what it's all about. It says in the Torah. That's why the Levim were menatzchim b'shir on with the Duchanan in the time of Korbanos. Because the song Shir V'Zimra is Simcha. Okay, it is through the Korbanos and the Ketores that all the Heilige Nitzotzos, all the holy sparks of holiness would be elevated from the Kelipot, and the main elevation was through the Simcha that was brought about. with the Korbanos and the Ketores. You have to understand, the Maisa, what makes a person sad? What makes him the Simcha? A person is all the time, filled with both aspects. The things in your life which you're happy about, and the things in your life which you're not happy about. Okay? At any given moment, what are you looking at? They call it, do you see the glass half full, or you see the glass half empty? Okay, so the point is that the Rebbe says that music, the essence of music is to sift the ruach of simcha from the spirit of depression. That's what music does. Music is a magnet. It's a spiritual magnet that magnetizes, it's like, if it's a sad music, then it magnetizes the sadness, it takes it out, and people get sad, And if it's a happy music, it takes out the simcha out of the sadness. And so you see that the korbanos is a sacrifice, okay? I don't know, if you made a person run like 10 miles with full gear, this person will be the most unhappy person on earth. But if that particular person is trying to make Navy SEALs, and he does the 10 miles, he's extremely proud of himself, right? He's like, whoa, I can't believe I did that, right? So sacrifice, when it's for a purpose, is simcha. Adobe, verkehrt. Ad kadi kach, that it says in Sfarim, that people that die of Kiddush Hashem feel the greatest pleasure in the world, no matter what they do to them. That's why Rebbe Akiva, when they judged him to death, he bowed down and he laughed. When a person is doing the sacrifice for something which is the most important to him, it's the biggest simcha that there is. The korbanos, when you're bringing a korban, it takes away the behemoths, and it takes, what does it do? It elevates the purpose. What are you running over all these distances for? Because you want to be a Native SEAL. Because being a Native SEAL is your dream. Because whatever it is. So the harder it is for you, the more it costs you, the more blood you spit, the more, the thicker the trail of guts, blood, and feathers you leave behind, the more exhilarated you are. I made it, and it cost me. It's not something that anybody can do. I did it, it's like I said. So the korbanos is, sacrificing for something that you believe in. Elevates the good and in the same situation. I mean, the thing that puts us be'atzvos is the fact that we forget that we are Kadosh Baruch Hu's people. And we have the Torah. And he gave us a tzaddik, which is, we know already that we can't do anything without him. We can't. We know that. But we don't have any kind of a saga of his true greatness. We say words, but we don't know what they mean. It's talking about the Sabbath in the Kedusha. The grandfather of the grandfathers of Kedusha. In other words, the Atik Yoimim. You're talking about the Yechida de Yechida. You're talking about greatness that cannot be. It's enough that we know that we can't without him. That's fine. But the point is that that's what the Rebbe Nosson says. The person has to search the tzaddik throughout his entire life. I know who he is. What does he want from him? You have to search for him. You have to look for him. You have to find until you can see his greatness with the eyes of your mind. And to have emunah in him. And to do what he says. And to come to love him. Like Rabbi says, Nofsha kshur b'nafsha. His soul is tied to his soul. Like David and Yonasan. And they're that's he says, when you do that, everybody says in Likutei, when you do that, when the hearts become one, the heart of the tzaddik is empty, so it's vacuum. The person's heart is filled with rachshtus, with nonsense. What happens is, when your heart connects with the heart of the tzaddik, so the rachshtus is being sucked into the heart, into the vacuum of the heart of the tzaddik. And it happens so quickly that it breaks your heart. It breaks your heart because you see. That's me. and
what a joke.
but it's a levnish, bro. It's a like you said, there's nothing more complete than a broken Jewish heart. It's a complete. It's not. You're not sorry for shtisim. You're sorry for dvarim amiti. So, and the Ketores is mevada. Ketores is this is what it does. It takes out the mitzvahs the kedusha. So that's what says al dei korbanos v'Ketores olin kol mitzvahs kedusha min haklipos. All the holy sparks are coming from the klipot. Ve'ikar al yedei hasimcha shenimshech al yedei hakorbanot u'Ketores. They brought about the korbanos v'Ketores. Now, the main elevation of the kedusha from the klipot is through the simcha. זהו בחינת שקולים שמחויבים לתת בכל שנה. The shkolim you have to give every year for the korbanos and tzibur and the Torahs. That's the simcha. In order to elevate all the parts of simcha from the goals from the klipots. And that starts the process, and the elva oilim lemala, it goes all the way up until you go to birkas hasechel. the mind is being blessed until, you settle down, the disciplining factor. The Keser, in the Ma'akiv, that the barrier that harnesses the intellect, in order to be Masigoa Ein Sof Chasmate Velomate. And he says, and then it becomes 9 Heichal in the Lav Inu Nahu, and it makes these 9 faculties that are totally opaque. I mean, faculties by definition means that they are available for you to be masig, to comprehend, to understand. But it says if they're totally opaque, it's davar v'hipuchoi. These are two things, that negate one another. But these 9 cholim, being that they are faculties to achieve or Ein Sof, that's why it's called Nasim Tesha Echolin, the Lav Inu Nehorin. This is the 9 faculties, 9 holes of intellect that are opaque. As the Torah says, says, look deeply into that. And all this, all this you get through doing the mitzvah with Gevaldige Simcha. Look well into it. And it says this is because this is the karbonos and the ketores, and that's the shkolim. This Shabbat shkolim, that's the shkolim that eventually become the karbonos and the ketores. That's why it says Beka legulgoylis. It says that coin of Beka is legulgoylis. Gulgoylis is a skull. It means per head. You're counting heads, so to speak. Gulgoylis, the pashat pshat of translation of Gulgoylis is a skull. Okay? What is the skull? Galgalta da Kesa. The Galgalta is the Kesa. First of all, the Galgalta is it means Mishon Agol, Mishon is round. Okay? What is the skull? The skull is the barrier that guards the brain. Right? That's what it is. So Beruchnius, the Galgalta, you have the moichin, you have the brain, Chochma, Bina, Das, V'chole. And you have the Galgalta, that's the Gulgoylis, that's the Keser, that's the harness. The harness is the moichin. It says, Beka Gulgoylis, the money, the shkolim, is for the purpose of Galgalta, for the purpose of Keser, to get this Ein Sof. That's the purpose to find the harness of the Moichin, which is Keser Galgalta. That's the main instrument with which one attains the Tesha Echolin, as the Torah says. And he says, when you elevate the head of the people of Israel, everybody will give a ransom for his soul, and there won't be a plague when you count them. So Machzis HaShekel b'Shekel HaKodesh. Machzis HaShekel Truma L'Hashem. Rashi says, "Shamageifa tuchal lishlot chas v'sholom b'dei minyan." That the plague can get toehold and overcome through the counting. That's the reason why the Torah ordered that every person will not be counted, but will give Machzis HaShekel, Kedei shelo yeh neged, so there won't be a neged. You can just count the shkolim. And it says in the pasuk. I'm also going to explain like this. The main hold, the existence of the side of death, the fact that there is such a thing as death, chas v'shalom, it comes from the minyan, from the counting, from the number. Al pi pashut, it's easy to understand. Beyond the number, there's no end.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't begin, it doesn't end.
Yeah.
It's ensof. It always is. When you say one, it's a definition. It's a definition that you're talking about. The whole thing is one thing. This is already a trace, that there will be other numbers. When you're saying two, that's really the beginning of actual numbers. There's a number of things, which means there's more than one, right? So when you're saying there's a number of things, there's a number of people, there's a number, it means that one thing has to end in order for the second thing to exist, right? If you're saying that there's only room for one person in a closet, it's very small. If two people want to fit in this closet, so the one person has to end and leave space for the other person to exist. In Ein Sof, there's no shaykhis to the concept of end. What is death? Death is end of life. Nothing else can exist without end. And multiplicity is the thing that implies that both things have to end in order for the other things to exist, right? So Srita de Moisa, the side of death, is shaykh only when there's multiplicity. Because in one, everything is one. There's no end. It's also a big chesed, in someone's household. When someone wants to control the entire household, I'm the boss, I'm the one who calls the shots. You don't give anybody a place to breathe. It's a rachmanis when you hold yourself back. When it goes down, when this in of minyan, this in of counting, trickles down, shu b'chinas bikshu cheshbonos rabim. It says, Elokim baros Adam Yosho, Kadosh Baruch Hu created men straight. Ve'ema bikshu cheshbonos rabim, says Koheles. Men, Kadosh Baruch Hu created men straight. But what did they do? Vehema, and they looked for all kinds of calculations. Should I, shouldn't I, all kind of politics, to do this, to do that, I got interests like this, just like that, so it says, Hashem created men straightforward. And they started looking for all kinds of cheshbonos. So you see over here, the Jibor created men, and the Lashon is singular. Adam. It's Echad. It's Yosha. The Hemo and they, you already got plural, right? They were looking for cheshbonos rabim. There were many calculations, to figure this, to figure that, to think, what would I rather do, what I'd not rather do, this is the right. This all comes about, excuse me, this all comes about from Pgam Etzadas Tovara. It comes from the damage of Etzadas Tovara. Tovara, by definition, is two. There's Tov and there's Ra. This is where the Tov ends and the Ra begins, right? So there's a line of demarcation. Whenever there's multiplicity, there's a limit. Shaz nigzal misa l'olam. That's the time when death was decreed on the world. Ikab gam etz hadas tov v'ra. The main damage of the tree of knowledge, good and bad, ubchinas bikshu cheshbonos rabin. They were looking for a lot of cheshbonos. Shu ubchinas b'gam kol hachoykim. This is the damage that all the philosophers, all those the things that are so smart. You want to find this out? You just read an op-ed page in the New York Times. Then you see what's the pshat of chachamim beineim. Somebody who feels like, damn, am I good? Oh man, I'm like, whoa, check me out. I mean, like, whoa,
experts.
Woo! Forget about it. Forget about it. There's not enough words in the English language just to tell you. And I am the one, you hear it from me, because I know. If only I know exactly whose fault it is, and I know what they need to do in order to rectify the situation. And you can see the Maisa from the Chacham and Tam, the sophisticated and the simpleton. When the Tam is being called from the Melech, he immediately gets up and runs, right? The Chacham said, first of all, he starts and he says wait.
Hold on a second.
No, he didn't say. He says, sleep the night over. Then I make a Suda for you. Then he says a cheshbon. What's my cheshbon? He says, who am I? What am I? The king should look for me.
Yeah.
The king is obviously wise, and this. Himself, he comes to a conclusion that there's no melech at all. This is the damage of all the philosophers. It goes all the chakiras and all the kashas that is above their seichel until they come to unbelievable heresies and total apikosis. But really, there is no ein chochma v'en tvuna v'en eitzel neged Hashem. There's no wisdom. There's no comprehension. There's no advice that'll help you. Avert the will of Hashem. Okay, and Bezrat Hashem, it says, and he just completes this. It says in Dvar Hashem Asu, they didn't want what are the words of Hashem. Chochmas malahem. What kind of wisdom do they have? You can't. There's no thought that can have any grasp of Kodesh Baruch Hu, and it's not possible to know of the godliness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu except through Masim Teva. In other words, through doing this the mitzvah b'simcha. This is how you ascend up and up until you get to the light of Ein Sof, Pchinas Mati v'lo Mati, those 9 halls of wisdom, which is the essence of Hasogas Elokus, Asher Zochel Lezeh. Until